So I actually have bullet points this morning because given the topic that I'm going to talk about, it's probably going to get me heated. And when I'm heated, I will start to just go in. Hence, the name of my websites, F around and find out. So, someone effed around and now they're about to find out. So listen, I don't even know where I'm supposed to be looking because I look over here sometimes and it looks like I'm looking up here. But anywho, let me just go ahead and jump right in. If you see me looking down, it is because I am trying to follow my bullet points. The title of this live video is Warning. I didn't add the part about the storm, but I'm giving warning because I will create the greatest storm ever when necessary. Sometimes just for shits and giggles, but not always. But I will and capable and have created the greatest storms ever. So I went with a softer title with warning, barefoot and braless, which I am this morning, which probably most of the women in the world are right now, barefoot and braless. What was the catalyst for this live? The catalyst for this live is that someone commented on my live yesterday about having or being fascinated with low hanging, basically saying that my boobs were low hanging ebony fun bags. Now, I don't know if this is a fetish, if it's a whole OnlyFans segment or a favorite category on some of the adult websites. I don't know, but maybe I'm missing out on some coins and some shillings that I need to capitalize on. Whether it was a compliment or an insult, you can't shame me. And this is about shame. So I am talking to the cowards who hide behind fake profiles and insult, not just me, because I only have like 104 followers or whatever. That's the other thing that I'm going to talk about later on. But so many people who moderate and censor their comments, I get that. I'm not a person who believes in censorship to that level. I am not at the point where I need a moderator. And because I talk so much about authenticity and transparency, it kind of feels like being a hypocrite to turn on the strict moderation feature that YouTube has, whatever, right? And I'm just not committed to all of this to be doing all of that. But at the same time, I'm going to address the cowards who hide behind profiles. The other demographic that I want to talk to are women who do not feel obligated to wear a bra 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The women who don't want to wear a bra at all, but feel pressured by society to wear a bra. I don't have a bra on this morning. And guess what most of us do when we are home alone? We let the girls free. Some people don't ever wear a bra, and that is fine too. But let's talk about those of you who feel obligated to wear a bra. And listen, I have heard all the arguments about your boobs being too heavy. I've never had large size boobs, so I don't know if it hurts your back or not. But the questions that I've always wanted to ask, what about all of the women all over the world who don't have access to these things or whatever, right? And I don't know, maybe it's just conditioning. Either way, let's just talk to everybody right now, right? The cowards who comment and try to make negative comments, and those of you who are hiding right now and not going live or launching something or whatever because, or just going outside to the store without looking for a bra because you're worried about someone. I'm getting a nudge here. I feel like I need to just say the word bra over and over again. Bra, 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 bra. Bra is constriction. It's constricting. And I understand that some women actually love bras. I'm not knocking that either. I am not here to judge. Again, I am talking to the cowards who cannot say to someone's face, and not even just me, and not even about the being braless part or my low-hanging fun bags, quote unquote, and What does it feel like to be such a coward that you can talk shit about people behind their back or behind a fake profile? Like, what does it feel like to go through life being a coward? And I'm going to also say this. I'm not judgmental because I have a video around here somewhere with myself and two other women, and we're just having a chat. And this is when we were still running the peer-to-peer support group, The Porch. And one of the topics that came up is that one of the women admitted to being a catfish at one point. I appreciate people who can admit they shit and they toxic level of shit, right? Because there's so many people out there who do the catfishing stuff, and I'm sure there's a newer term for it or whatever. But very few people have the courage to admit, I was that toxic person. We've all been toxic to somebody at some point in life. If there's not somebody on this earth who doesn't think that you're an asshole, you are not living. We can't please everybody all the time. And if y'all are out there hiding all the time, I'm going to give you a real life example about how me showing up authentically, raggedy, ratchet, dirty, in tattered clothes, hairy, landed me the client that allows me to be here right now, overlooking the water, right, with no bra on, watching the surfers, and enjoying my moment in peace while people are sitting in little raggedy apartments that they hate, in relationships that they absolutely hate, having to catch the bus or go to a job 7 days, 5 days, 6 days a week for 10 hours that they hate, but still have the nerves to want to try to insult people. Make it make sense, because it doesn't make sense to me. But maybe that's your way of insulting people to make you feel better about your miserable fucking life. It ain't gonna happen with me. So let me just get into my bullet points. Years ago, I started a hashtag called barefoot and braless, because that is all I did for like 4 years, enjoying my little inner child wild side, was run around our family's land and property barefoot and braless. And it was the most liberating thing that I can, well, up until arriving here in certain situations here, it was the most liberating thing ever to not just be that free, right? Most people will never be able to experience that level of feral and wildness in their entire lives. And until you have an opportunity to do it, it's hard to explain, and you probably can never really understand how quote unquote healing it is, as people do all other kinds of things for healing and relaxation and to manage anxiety or whatever. When some people just need to just take their fucking shoes off, go get dirty, get on a swing, take their bra off, and run around and play all day and don't go home until the street lights come on. So you can't shame me, because there's nothing that I have ever kept secret from anyone. I am radically transparent, and some of y'all need to be more radically transparent. What I do for a living, how I do it for a living, the nature of the business for my clients is not a secret. It's not a secret to my friends. It's not a secret to my family members. It's not a secret to my son. It's not a secret to anyone. You can't shame me. So there's that. Radical transparency has allowed me to be here because years ago, I retired from doing anything tech. I was over it because of the same shit that happens right now. People showing up with the filters and the mask and the fake influencers, and people lying about how they make their income, how much they make. Like, just all of it was just fake. And I was just like, you know what? I want no parts of this crap, right? So I stepped away and started crafting weird, random stuff, and just wasn't bothered. But then somehow I ended up creating this online peer-to-peer support group for women. Except the difference is that we literally showed up as we were when we woke out of bed, when we rolled out of bed or whatever. Someone who was in that peer-to-peer support group as one of the peers introduced me to the woman that I now call a friend and a mentor. And that woman then introduced me to the owner of the business that's my current client. That particular woman is not someone who deals Y'all think I'm bad? Listen, she is someone that does not pull the, she doesn't, she has a saying, and that saying is, and I quote, ain't no meat on them bones. Y'all get wrapped up in somebody looking pretty with the plucked eyebrows and the perfect fucking teeth and the perfect done hair, whether it's real or authentic, or the under eye cream and the makeup and all of the bullshit or whatever, right? And they may sound like, if you really are listening, what they say doesn't really come from the soul, and it doesn't have any substance. And a lot of times they've like practiced that and they've rehearsed it, and they've got like the teleprompter on the screen and they're reading from that. And those of us who actually read energy and are not coming from a place of falsehood and the aesthetics of shit, no. So her quote is, ain't no meat on them bones. Ain't no meat on them bones. Y'all worry about the surface level facade bullshit when, why? Why are you worried? Oh, look at, my fucking life, a hang glider. I'm watching a hang glider right now while somebody's worried about the fact that I am not wearing a bra and that my breasts are not sitting up underneath my chin and that I'm not built like a 20-year-old who hasn't nursed a child, which I have. A perfectly healthy child, might I add, who is brilliant and very successful. And yes, he sucked on these for quite some time, and they don't look like they did prior to him sucking on these. How about that? So, my life with my low-hanging ebony fun bags, quote unquote. Y'all worry about things, it ain't no meat on them bones. And nobody is going to the store to just get bones. Well, some, but that's a whole different conversation for a whole different channel and a whole different podcast, which I won't get into because people already assume that I be doing some mojo jojo on them. And I don't, because most of the people who feel that way about me aren't worth my time or my energy. And there's some people that I won't even repeat and mention their name because it's not worth my energy. So moving right along. So being introduced to that person and her seeing my spirit, my true nature and authenticity, asked me to come out of retirement to assist her in getting the business back on track. Because again, I keep talking about the lack of integrity, the lack of morals, the lack of transparency, the lack of authenticity, the lack of honesty. I was thinking about something this morning. I was thinking about how an ex-lover of mine used to always say, color for a cover. Y'all be getting wrapped up in just because somebody is pretty, you think they're nice. Just because somebody's attractive, you think they're trustworthy. Just because somebody is the same color as you, race, culture, whatever, you think they're trustworthy. Yo, a lot of them mofos be playing on the fact that y'all fall for the general association with someone, right? The woman that I keep mentioning as my mentor and as my friend is a little old white lady. Many of y'all be shooting yourselves in your fucking foot with opportunities because you be running around chasing people who look like you, who then are not doing anything. They lie to you about all kinds of things, and you sit there and you think, and you know, something's not adding up. But instead of you asking questions to get to the root of what is like irking at you, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a video about being psychic and how people think these YouTube psychics have y'all feeling like people are omnipresent. No psychic knows everything or whatever. Someone that I know recently who I ended up cutting off, ceasing all communication with, I knew they lied. I was able to find out that they lied because I am psychic. There's a lot of people in my life who lie. That is not the issue. It's what they lie about and how that aligns with the titles that they are using and the work that they say or claim that they are doing. That is when it becomes dangerous, and that's when it becomes toxic, right? So if I know that someone lies to me, if I know and they know that they've lied about something, and I've called them out on it, and we've had a discussion about it, right? I didn't really, I didn't know that I needed to say, okay, I understand that, but if I'm around, how about you not lie to the demographic of people that you say that you're so passionate and concerned about or whatever, right? If you say that you're doing work to liberate people and to heal people or whatever, right? Why are you withholding information that can set them free, that will empower them to be able to stand on their 2 feet, right? I'm going to keep going back to this video. I posted a video the other day where a young woman is talking about how these influencers are lying about how they're funding their lifestyles or whatever, right? If I was doing that, if I was showing up saying, oh, take my advice because look at this aesthetic or whatever, the current client and friend that I have, I would not have had this opportunity because she is not about the fuck shits. So if some of you now, back to those of you who are sitting there insecure for whatever reason, whether it's from childhood, your current life, or because you're comparing yourself to these people that are on social media, or you're worried about somebody making a negative comment, how miserable is their life? And I will say this, and I've said this before, what I have realized is that the most judgmental people, or the people who fear being judged, let me correct myself. I have learned and realized that the people who fear being judged the most are those who are actually very fucking judgmental. Some of y'all really need to get a handle on why you are afraid to put yourself out there, right? Because you know that there are people out there like you, when you sit and you watch someone and you judge and critique every little fucking thing that they do, and you ain't doing shit. I wasn't planning on doing this morning, but apparently I needed to get riled up or whatever, because I have my most creative moments after I come back down out of these little episodes of rants. But I'm going to keep it moving. So I was watching a video on Instagram the other day, and even though I am in technology, I forget there are so many different filters that can do so many different things. There's this woman who's a legal expert that I don't know why I started following her, but either way. So she popped up on my timeline, and she was basically showing herself with the picture with the filter, how I have always seen her. And then she showed herself without the filter, and she was explaining why she uses the filter, because she was saying that she heard someone say that someone else had increased their followers or their following. Y'all, let me also say this. Just because somebody has 1 million and something followers does not mean that they are able to eat off of 1 million fucking followers, right? My definition of success, if I have only 105 subscribers on YouTube, but I get 40 views, that's a win for me, because there are people who have 50,000 followers or subscribers or whatever, but only have a couple of thousand of views or a couple of thousand engagements, and all of those metrics are different, right? If I only have, before I went live, I had 105 subscribers on YouTube. When I came back on YouTube, I started out with like 80. So now I have 105. But if I get 154 views on YouTube, that's over 100%. Like, in comparison, I am happy with that. That is a success. Some of y'all won't put stuff out there because you're just like, oh, I only got 2 or 3 views. If you only have 40 followers or 10 followers, that is a win. Look at the percentages or whatever, right? In comparison. Because you are at least saying something. And with each of my lives, I might lose some people today, but with each of my lives, I am gaining a viewer, a subscriber. Now, my goal wasn't to make money off of this. It was just to bring awareness, because I am that truth teller. And there's a whole bunch of fake shit out there right now. And my goal is to educate on don't fall for the fuck shit, because not everybody is resilient as I am. I am someone, when I say that I am about sovereignty, empowerment, and liberation, that's what I mean, which means that I am not going to be lying to people and have them running around in circles, wasting fucking time, money, and resources when they're fucking trying to get free. And people keep fucking with people's fucking time and calling themselves certain titles when you're doing the exact same thing as the systems that are in place that you say that you're against. Make it make sense. I will not tolerate it. And if I observe it, especially if it's in my circle, if it is someone that I vouch for, I'm going to call that shit out. Which also includes showing up in a way that makes it seem like you can only achieve this if you look like this, speak like this, dress like this, have this fancy fucking bra. I'm not knocking anyone who authentically makes you feel good. Great. But let me be the opposing side of this and say, I did not get here by doing all of the pomp and circumstances, right? I didn't get here by being somebody's fucking show pony. I have 2 pairs of flip-flops. I have no real shoes here. This is what I wear consistently every day. And then I have another pair. I have the fancy ones, right? So you have the fancy chanclas, Havianas, or you have like just the regular ones. And I have some faded pink ones that I wear in the shower because, you know, electrical currents. But again, this is Brazil. So, and I'm going to continue to do my videos with or without a bra, just depending on where I'm at in the moment. And maybe if someone just got the bright fucking idea to start making clothes that compliment women that don't require the boobs to be up under their chest, I'm literally hearing someone right now doing the same thing that the elders did and telling a young woman, you need to put a bra on because your boobs are going to start hanging. What does it matter? Why does it matter? Right? Like, at the very least, give someone some options. If you don't want to wear a bra, that's fine. That is okay. If you choose to wear a bra, that is fine. That is okay. But don't do it for me, and don't do it for a man. Don't do it for society. And it doesn't have to be the same thing every day. My next bullet point. So let me just keep going. Let me go back to the attorney and the filter. So she was saying that the reason why she uses a filter on all of her videos is because she heard that it brings consistency. I get it. It makes life easier. That might work for everyone, but let me be the voice of reason to say, you all don't have to follow everybody's advice. When are we going to start listening to our own intuition and trusting? If you have felt like, and you've been showing up either online or in the world with your breasts stuffed and tied and in bondage and doing all the things with the filters and the makeup and the whole bit every single time you go online and you're not getting the results, why do you fucking keep doing it? How long do we have to keep doing something over and over again before we say, yo, that ain't working? Let me try something else. Y'all stay in these little loops and these rat holes, and you don't ever stop and say, why? I have a saying, who told you and why? Who told you this thing that you are grasping onto like a religion or even a spirituality or a belief, habits? Who told you that and why? Did they tell you that to liberate you, or did they make some shit up and make it seem like it was truth so that you can keep chasing over and over again? I talk about people coming to the water, watching every morning, watching people go to the water, make offerings. And I'm not trying to insult anybody, but I said to a friend of mine here, and I was like, every morning I sit and I watch these people go to an offering, and their ancestors probably went to the water every single morning making an offering. And I promise you, their conditions have not fucking changed. It's Sunday, so let's have church, right? But people don't want to say that because you're too fucking worried about offending people. People are so concerned about being liked. People are more concerned about being liked than getting free. And until more people start telling the truth, yo, when is any of this going to change? If we keep looking at people do the same thing over and over and over and over again, generation after generation after generation, and you're too worried about offending people and even doing it yourself. So if you are at a job that you do not like, if you are in a living situation that you do not like, if you are in an environment that you do not like, if you are in a country that you do not fucking like, why do you keep doing the same shit over and over and over and over again? Wearing the same things, buying the same products, having the same conversations with the same people, getting out of bed the same side every single fucking morning, driving to work the same way every single morning, following the same people you know that are not in alignment with who you really want to be. If you want to get up and have your titties out and don't shave your legs because you feel like that's your most authentic self, do that and go live, write the content, take the picture, post the thing, go to the store, whatever. Go to a nice... There's a friend of mine. When we used to party in Scottsdale, Arizona, if you're familiar with Scottsdale, Arizona, that's the little fancy thing. And I don't mean old Scottsdale. I mean like the fancy part of Scottsdale, right? We love to party. We used to love to party. We didn't have transportation. I would come into town and she would be like, let's go out. She didn't have a car. I would have to borrow my mom's car at the time, which was this raggedy piece of shit truck. Either it was green, one of the doors was red, the inside material was falling apart. She used to laugh because it looked like Freddy Krueger had been in there and like ripped it all apart. So when the windows were down and we were driving, it would blow in the wind. And then sometimes you would have to push start the truck to get it to go. And then when you would get it to go, it had the large cloud of puffy smoke and all the things or whatever. Guess what? We would go out in that truck, dressed to the nines, often in all white, and park the car right in front of the club, knowing that one of us was going to have to push it to start it. We would still take that truck and go to valet parking. Had the best times of our lives. I'm also going to add here, someone asked me the other day, well, do you think that people are going to challenge you, or do you feel like people are thinking that you're just, talking or whatever? And I was just like, yeah, no, nobody talks as much shit as I do and they don't have evidence. Don't ever try to call me out because I stay with the evidence and the receipts. I will run circles. Do not get it twisted about how you see my lifestyle right now, right? I will run circles around you when it comes to technology. I will run circles around you when it comes to chopping wood. I will run circles around you, most people, in most things. When I tell people I'm not your little average American who just is there for the aesthetic, right? Or says or thinks that they can do something because their ancestors did it. Yo, some of y'all ancestors was traitors. Some of y'all ancestors was traitors on both sides. I don't care what color. So there's that. Back to the filter. Not all of y'all need to do that. And that's not going to work for everybody. Right? I've always wondered, like, if I don't wear makeup because I don't know how to do it. Not that I have anything against it. But then I wonder sometimes, I'm like, but how am I going to feel when I wake up in the morning and I don't look like anything that I went to bed? And what is he thinking? I would like to hear from more men. But this is my warning. Do not ever challenge me. Do not ever question. Don't ever get it twisted about the lifestyle that you see I'm in right now, because I stay with the receipts. I stay with the evidence. And very few people challenge me except the cowards who hide behind hidden profiles and fake names who have something to say. I will always tell people when they come to me and about somebody gossiping or saying something behind my back, and I was just like, you know what? It doesn't matter, because they're not going to say it to my face. So if anyone has anything to say to me or want to judge me or want to criticize me, you're a coward if you can only do it behind a hidden profile, behind a fake name. If you are talking shit about me to someone else and you haven't said it to me, you are a coward. I don't care how much shit you talk. I don't carry what you, I don't carry. I don't believe in carrying. How about that? Right? It does not make you badass. It does not make you brave. It does not make you fearless. I was thinking, I'm just rambling right now, and I'm going to ramble because I can. I was thinking yesterday morning about the most badass women, the most feral, the wildest women I know, none of them, truly wild, fearless women I know, none of them carry. Because they don't feel like they need to. It came to my attention the other day that someone thought because I've done so much solo travel by myself around the United States that they thought I carried. I don't carry. I ain't never carried. I don't have a permit. I don't believe in it because I'm not trying to attract that energy to me. And what I know for a fact is that most of the women who carry experience some type of trauma in their childhood. I'm not knocking that. I am not knocking anyone who feels like they need to do that. But what you're not going to do is challenge me based off of the external things that you feel like you need, right? Period. And I am saying this also to the women who are fearful of traveling alone, of doing anything alone. Stop watching those fucking Instagram, TikTok, Facebook reels about, oh, when you go to a resort or you go into a hotel or whatever, you got to put this here and jam this in the door and put this under here and stick a credit card. Yo, the more y'all watch that shit, the more you watch them true crime shows, the more fearful you're going to be, and you are never going to be liberated, and you're never going to get free. First thing first, and my biggest recommendation is to you, if you experience some type of trauma that caused you to feel this way, that you always have to stay protected, yo, find some help, get some help, figure the root cause of that first and foremost. Because you can't be carrying shit everywhere. And if y'all sitting over here talking about you want to leave the United States and go somewhere else, guess what? Your little pew-pew license ain't going to help you. So, body culture. Body culture here, body positivity. I don't even like using that word when I describe what you see here. I'm sure there are some people with some insecurities, and yes, there are some people that have something to say about somebody's titties hanging low, or somebody, can I say titties? I've been getting away with saying the word fuck, but I don't know, I'm pushing it today with titties or whatever, right? So, but let's just go ahead, because you don't know if it's broken until you try it. Some of y'all probably be censoring yourselves more than you even need to, and don't know if you can get away with the thing, but you're too afraid to risk it and call yourself a risk taker. So titty bra bra, fuck. Woo, I don't know if that's going to translate, so I apologize to my people who speak other languages. Anyway, people, you will see breasts of all shapes and sizes. Little areolas, big areolas, hard nipples, soft nipples, big breasts, little breasts, mommy breasts, and not mommy breasts, fake breasts, real breasts. And you will often see women that are not in, I got one for the men who feel like they need to criticize women on how women look. But let me just finish with the breasts, because breastises are precious, right? They're magical. So you're going to see all of that. And I've never seen so many women that are not even at the beach without a bra on. And it's a beautiful sight to see. And it's hot. Like, you're just going to see people in swimsuits that are smaller than my phone case, that are the size of Oprah at her heaviest, and they're out at the water, confident, right? Beautiful. And so just to minimize that and simplify it by saying body positivity is not doing it justice. It just is. But let's just talk about the men. So the men who feel like women need to be a certain shape, a certain size, or that breasts need to be at a certain height and a standalone, many men here, most men here are in beautiful shape. The older men here will run circles around many of you younger men in the United States who criticize women and try to put them in a box. Many men here wear like the Speedo swimsuits, right? Don't think anything of it. Straight men, don't think anything of it. How many of y'all are willing to do that? How many of y'all are willing to do that? Think about that for a second, right? It's easy to sit back and criticize someone. And I also know that I have men and women because, you know, analytics and stats, even on my podcast, stats that tells me who's watching, where, and when, and on what. But I'm going to get into that another time. So, y'all, we live in societies, like, I feel like, and I've talked about all of this before, I'm going to actually start sharing some of my older talks and things like that were on the porch, but I've talked about shame before and how I feel like shame is the biggest prison, the original prison. And please don't come into the comments talking about how religion has to do with shame, and it's not even that complicated, right? There are some people who don't even know what religion is and just know that they can shame someone into silence and being quiet so that they can take your place. So I am not the person that you can shame. Even if you're a woman who has an opinion about the shade of my skin, about me being black or ebony, and you think it's going to be an insult, racist, bigots, everything in between, I don't really care unless you have the courage to show your real face and to show your real name. Because other than that, you're nothing more than a coward. And I will continue to show up in whatever mood that I'm in that day. Yesterday, with my boobs lower than someone felt comfortable with, were out. I just happened to get dressed only because I accompanied someone to attempt to go to the hospital yesterday or whatever, right? I don't leave or get dressed that often because I have a beautiful condo with a beautiful view, and I'm not concerned about the people who live miserable lives with miserable partners or no partner at all. You cannot shame me. Tribe, if anyone is watching, they know I have a saying, and my mother said this: we ain't got no secrets. I don't have any secrets. And back to what I was saying, if you don't like it, leave. I've talked before about me getting into this huge argument with my mother, and yes, I live streamed it. So, like, my level of radical and extremism, you don't understand it. And most of y'all have no concept of it because you sit around and you listen to people who do a bunch of fucking talking. Yo, yes, I live streamed the biggest fight I have ever had with my mother on Facebook. And it's interesting because at that point, I was not even living in Florida. At that point, I wasn't even thinking about leaving the country. At that point, I didn't have any money and I didn't have a place to go. And my mother was just like, look, what I'm telling you and why I did what I did, if you don't like it, leave. And she must have said that 100 times. And it's funny now because it wasn't funny then. It literally, the argument did get to a point where it was so funny. I had to stop and I was like, yo, the devil is up in here. But I was just keep going. Like, how far can this go without us killing each other? So I was just like, let's just keep going. Anyway, I ended up living in a house with no water and no electricity. So, but now being here in the country, I laugh at that video because I hear her saying, if you don't like it, leave. And yes, we're good and we're cool and everything now. And yes, she misses me or whatever. And hi mom, if you're watching this. And when I see her again, I'm going to say, you remember when you told me if I didn't like it, leave? And she'll be, depending on her mood, I don't know how she's going to take it. She'll probably say her favorite line, Courtney, I'm not in the mood for your shit today. And I'll be like, but anyway, for a lot of y'all, if you don't like it, leave. You don't have to put nobody down. You don't have to lie. You don't have to do any of that shit. If you do not like it, leave. And if you feel like you don't need to leave because it's your country, it's your house, it's your, put up the fucking fight. I tell everybody, I've had some of my most epic battles, me standing alone by myself against not just 1, 2, 3 people, but organizations or whatever. Yo, stop waiting for other people. I think some of y'all use that as an excuse to just complain. You just really just want to complain. How about that? Like, complaining has become a disease and an epidemic and waiting on somebody else to fix it. So the same time you feeling like you're not going to do anything or you're not going to leave, but you're just going to keep complaining, the people that you're waiting on are doing the same thing. Everybody's waiting on somebody else. If you don't like it, leave. Why do you keep arguing with your partner every single fucking day? If you're in that situation because of finances and you're stuck, yo, figure something out. And again, don't try me and don't say, well, it's not that easy, because unless you know my full story, do not try me. I stay with the receipts and evidence. Last but not least, I already talked about, yes, I am almost 52. My breasts are natural. I am a woman who breastfed my child. My boobies sit here. They don't sit up here. And if anyone doesn't like that, I don't know what to tell you. If you're turned on if that turns you on, please let me know, because I'll do it more often and I'll send you a donation link. How about that? I think that's it. So I'm going to enjoy my day and my boobies been out and all the things. So I hope for those of you who are offended or who feel like I don't fit into your beauty standard or whatever this make-believe beauty standard is, because all of this shit is fake. None of this shit is real. It's just rules or something that somebody made up and had the audacity to turn it into a rule and enough charisma to get people to believe it. None of this shit is real. None of it. I am not perfect by any means, but I also have little odd things about myself that are different that no one else has. And guess what? That makes me unique. That I'm the fucking unicorn. How about that? I am unique. How many of you are unique other than just saying I'm unique because what about you? Physically, what about you makes you unique and different from everyone else that's walking around in the world? What makes you unique? With that, something that I'm trying to get better about. I said today is Sunday, and it is Sunday, May 3rd. I'm going to say it again. I cannot comment immediately. If I do not comment, I am not ignoring you. You can come back if anyone even dared commenting in this chat section and comment on the video once that is actually processed and it's live. I can see that. I can reply to that. Ciao.